What's your biggest turnoff? Promiscuity and/or misandrists. Had a few moments in life where I was enjoying my time with an attractive young lady only to let her talk long enough to find out her true ideas. Nothing turns me off more than misandrists. Starting arguments. Healthy disagreements are good. But if I find myself avoiding you just so I don't have to be on the defensive about something that shouldn't even be an issue, I will lose all attraction and it's not gonna work out. Any comments or phrases that are anti-men. I've already said this loads of times, but I once matched with a woman on Tinder who messaged me first, and when I looked at her bio which said I think all men is assholes. Be the one to prove me wrong and quat. I immediately unmatched her. Emotional abuse. No, thanks. Bad teeth. I don't mean cavities. I mean teeth that are just all askew and fucked up. I know that in most cases having fucked up teeth is more a class problem than a personal failing. But I still can't stand to look at them. Boring people who are dead inside. But seeking validation and attention to keep them going even though they have no purpose. Usually people who live out in the suburbs as years of isolation. WFH and being too lazy to socialize take their toll. Controlling. Like getting upset when things doesn't go her way. I was debating on dating this girl but I just couldn't do it because she would get upset over the smallest things. And she rarely want to admit it when she's wrong and is very stubborn on self-improvement. She was treated very poorly as a child by her mom and she said, and I quote, "I'm gonna do the same thing to my kids," and quote. Immediately nope. She looks nice but nah. I ain't dealing with all that BS. She's still my friend to this day but I'm never going any further than that. When did your life begin? My life began the day I was born. But I truly started to live it when I was 21. At the end of my recovery from a life-changing accident that happened when I was 19. 25. Was living in the same constant rut. Depressed since 13, finally decided at 25 I need to change something about my life if I don't want to continue to feel like another brick in the wall, so I finally got the help I needed and have been learning to love and accept myself. I feel like a totally different person than I was when I was 22, even though at 22 I thought my life would consistently feel the same since I was an adult. 26 now and excited to think about where life will take me, which I never thought I would say. 5 years ago on this date, I quit my career of almost 20 years. I hated everything about this job. The owners, the upper management, the customers, and about 35% of the other employees. It was extremely toxic and I didn't truly realize how much until after I left. I would cry when I pulled into the parking lot. Panic attacks just about every day. It was an awesome place to work for the first 10 years or so. After I quit, quite a few long-term employees like myself quit as well. I've lived many lives. Big moments are the times when my life started and ended. When I got married and had kids, my life started. When I got divorced, that life ended. And my new life on my own started. When I entered grad school, my old life as a stay-at-home parent and then a working parent ended and my new life as a student started. When I met my now husband, my life with him started. When my kids grew up and moved out, another life started. I think there are so many moments when your life starts. And those moments go on. My mom started playing sports at age 77. It's a new life for her. I hope I have a lot of lives. Do you ever have random words pop into your head out of nowhere? It's getting worse as I get older. It's AI. Usually happens when I'm just about to fall asleep. Intrusive thoughts. This often happens to me. I even keep a list of things that come to my mind. Indubitably. I thought I came up with the word Fibonacci. Well, now it is in my head too, thanks. All the time. But does the word have an accent in your head depending where it sounds like it comes from? Yep, it's strange. The latest one was leucistic, which is a condition that animals get relating to lack of pigmentation. Don't know if I read it somewhere not long before it popping into my head or not, but that seems likely as within 2 weeks I see 2 posts about leucistic birds here on Reddit. I always have some phrase stuck in my head. It's usually a clause from a sentence I read in Latin like 2 weeks ago. Not exactly, but I sometimes use unfamiliar words just cause they feel right to what I'm saying. Often I will ask, did I use that word right? And majority of the time it's a yes. I think my subconscious picks it up somehow. Sometimes. But usually there's still a reason for me to have seen that word. Either it's made up from 2 other words. Like if it's tetramin from your example, it would be cause I recently saw something about a tetragon, and for example there's a lot of medications that end with min, so brain just makes a new word out of it. But nonsense words pop into my head too sometimes, like crackin' mops or flee out to co. They like to just have headphones on. Or earbuds in. Without listening to anything? I do it when I want to still be a little checked out from where I am right now, but it's getting annoying / overstimulating having actual music or videos on. My headphones are on all day and night with them being Wi-Fi. And taking them off makes me feel exposed. Autism. I do it unconsciously. Like I put earphones on to listen to something. Then I forget to turn on music and end up just sitting with earphones. Yep. It's kinda like an earplug. What ingredients makes a cake really tasty? More vanilla than you think. Good quality butter if doing that kinda recipe, brown it if you can be bothered. Buttermilk and oil instead of butter. A shot of espresso in hot water. If you make a box cake, add a pudding mix if from scratch. Sour cream makes chocolate cake really moist and delicious. Italian buttercream icing instead of just regular buttercream. But if you make very large flowers, just do them with the basic buttercream. But you'll have to refrigerate the cake if there's any left. I am a lazy cake maker, so always use a box mix. However, I doctor it up by replacing the half cup of vegetable oil, blé, with half cup of melted butter, replacing the water with milk, and add an extra egg yolk. Depending on the flavor of cake, I might add things like espresso powder or extracts. Simple syrup. It actually makes the cake super moist and is left out of like 98% of all cake recipes. I assume professional bakers just leave that step out because they just assume it's a given and what everyone does by default, but it's not and we don't. For a chocolate cake, a good quality cocoa powder makes all the difference. My fave is the Brave Tart recommended Cacao Berry Extra Brut. And I'm sorry, I have to disagree with sour cream and mayonnaise. Even if no one tells me they're in the cake, I could totally taste it. And I find it vile. Vanilla. Good beaten eggs and sugar mixture. Beat the eggs first till they are fluffy, then add your sugar gradually while still beating. Continue beating for 6 to 8 minutes. It should result in a very fluffy, light yellow mixture, which you can build your cake dough on. Like from there you can add your flour, powdered milk, vanilla, baking powder, or basically whatever you want. Been doing this for ages and it never failed me.